Hey, what's up? How's it going? I'm Enrique. I'm an artist and illustrator. I work for a movie company and a couple of different small game companies. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through how to draw Carnage. Love that character. It's going to be in the Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. So I thought I'd draw my version of it. Doing this in my sketchbook, so you're going to see the sketch from beginning all the way to the end. I'm going to go into it with a, what do you call it, mechanical pencil, like so. Real simple one, and then after that I'm going to go into it with Prisma pens, microns really. That's pretty much it. It's going to be beginning to end, very simple. It's going to be a long video, so prepare yourself. I am going to start it after the initial sketch to kind of, you know, make it more entertaining. But it's a bit of a longer video, so like I said, this is intermediate. I do kind of warn you on that. It is a little bit more for intermediate, but you can enjoy it if you're a beginner. That is it. If that sounds great to you, hit the subscribe button. I post stuff like this all the time. You don't forget to click the bell icon so that it actually lets you know when the video shows up. Anyways, that's pretty much it. So let's get started. Okay, just kind of re-looking at it now. The head is way too big, so I'm gonna have to just cut it down somehow here, and just kind of like shade behind it. So I'm gonna cut this down, even though we're dealing with pen here. It'll be fine, and then kind of thin out the jaw a little bit. I think that's another thing that's making him look huge. Maybe shorten the jaw. You can change stuff even in ink, just to let you know. And that's something, and that's gonna have to do right there for now. Let's go over here, draw these like kind of spikes, these spider leg spikes around his back, and then this linguini coming out of here. More or less, they're gonna be random. This linguine sauce coming out, or SpaghettiOs. Now I'm going to try to make those as random as I can, because if it's not random enough, it's just not going to work, I think. It has to be random enough. Yeah, and like I said, that's been drawn a gazillion times by a gazillion artists, and so it's kind of hard. What I was gonna do, but I decided not to do, was I was gonna make like a Carnage Wolf version or something like that, but I wanted to make, you know, pure Carnage for the movie, you know. So that's pretty much kind of the thought process I came from. All right, again, drawing them a little bit. It's kind of all over. I should really vary the spots as well of where. All right. Yeah. And I could always add a little bit more, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to erase the pencil lines with my favorite eraser, which is this kneaded eraser. Not this specific kneaded eraser, but kneaded erasers in general are just my favorite erasers. I feel like I could be pretty rough with them or pretty gentle with them, and they work. And oops, to move the camera here. But yeah, I just think they work so well, honestly. Oops, might be moving it too far. But yeah, pretty much. As far as my favorite Spider-Man villain goes, I'm a big fan of Venom because of his design, but I mean, it's pretty simple, right? Like, as far as kind of the complexity of the character, I think I'm more into like Dr. Octopus. I think that's a really cool villain as well. I really like that guy, and Green Goblin as well. But yeah, Venom as far as design goes, for sure. Love, love, love Venom's design and Carnage's design. Alrighty. So let me start putting in some darks here. And I'm going in here with a different one, a little bit heavier of a graphite. Graphite, why did I say that? This is graphic. So this Pigma, again, it's a little more graphic. And just kind of throwing in some darks. He has a lot of dark in his face, especially over here. Right? A lot of dark in the face. You know, he kind of has almost like a band of shadow, like all up in the middle here, and it goes all the way down his chest area. So I'm going to find that, and there's going to be a lot of it. It's going to be finding darks and refining what exactly is going on. Finding and refining. Coming over here. So the inside of his mouth is going to be lit up as opposed to the reverse. Usually you have like light teeth, and then the insides of their mouth of anything is dark. But with him, it's the reverse. So what I normally do here is when I'm laying down darks, I know I'm going to go back and fix the edges to a lot of this stuff. And so that's kind of what gives me, I guess, confidence. So if it's not too far off, I can kind of pull it around. Like I said, you'd be shocked what you can correct in pen. I know people like go nuts and they're like, oh, I can't correct anything, but you know, in pen, you know, you can't correct it if you put it down and it's ink, it's permanent. I mean, to some extent it is, but you can put stuff around it, which really makes a difference, and you can totally do a lot more than you think. Go over here, some darks. I cut his chin down, so I'm gonna have to like account for that right here. Alrighty. I wouldn't say his chin's gonna disappear, but it might. I'm gonna I'm gonna keep going with the line down the center of his chest. Over here, maybe I can change it up. I love this flat right here. You can get so much done with it. Because if I did it with the other one, it would take forever to get something this large, right? So I know Faber-Castell, I also use those as well as far as the markers go. Markers are like pens, you know. Faber-Castell, there's a great marker in there called Faber-Castell PITT Artist Pen Big Brush. And I was using that all the time for different like caricatures and things of that sort. But I never I don't know, like sometimes they stop producing it. Sometimes like I would have to go to the store and get it. It was fine, but then they kind of slowed production on it or something. I think I can still get it, but the last one that came in so weird, so faulty and strange. I just kind of was like, all right, whatever. I'm not gonna buy these for a while. But I haven't found a big marker as good as that. I'm sure there is. I just haven't looked hard enough. But I started using these magic markers, which is funny. The ones from the kid store. Some of those work really well. Like the ones you find anywhere, like the Target aisle or Target store. So going down here, like I said, we're going to go down to his waist. And a lot of that stuff's going to be in total like darkness. I might put his entire lower body here in darkness. I was thinking about doing that. Or at least a big chunk of his lower body in darkness. You know, maybe like from right here. And you can get messy with it too, because you know you're going to refine it later. Just to kind of, if you're just going to fill in stuff, you can totally get messy with it. Are you going to see the Carnage movie when it comes out? I mean, I am, for sure. The Carnage movie. The Venom movie. Are you going to see that when it comes out? Because I certainly will. I don't know if I'm gonna go to theaters though. If they have it, I mean everything's opening up now, so I probably will go to theaters if it is open. Cause before the shutdown and stuff, I was going to the theater all the time. I remember I had one of those movie pass things, you know, where you turn over here, kind of a coarse shadow over here. I was going to those movie pass things all the time, and they were it was so cool. You could watch I think it was for $20 a month. You're allowed to watch 3 movies a month if you want, which is like 3 movies a week. Sorry, which is way too much, right? I only watched 1 movie a week or so, maybe every I don't know, maybe 3 movies a month, and that, you know, that's already worth the price, right? $20, 20 something. But yeah, I was doing that all the time with a buddy of mine, and when theater shut down, I was like, oh, that's too bad. You know, I couldn't do it anymore. So a lot of this lower portion right here of the leg is gonna be in shadow. Like quite a lot of it. I don't want to move the camera. Being really careful here. Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go in and I'm going to fill in a lot of this stuff in shadow just to not bore you. I'm just going to speed it up. You'll still see it, but there's nothing technical going on, so you don't need to see it. So I'm just going to do that, you know, right now. Ready? Let's, boom, go. Okay, so what I ended up doing there was I kind of went with this big flat kind of ink, and I started defining all my darks, or as many as I could anyways. And so the cool thing about this stuff is that, man, the cool thing about this is that you can go into it almost painterly. It can be almost messy because Carnage, again, is this liquidy form, and there's so much room, right? The margin of error is so big. And that's what's, you know, pretty cool about it, that margin of error is so big, and you can just kind of mess around You know, it's like, so like nothing that's like all that careful. Let me go in with a smaller one to kind of solidify, not solidify, but I'm going to go through it. I'm just going to kind of like start refining these points. I think this particular one is too small. Let me find a different one. Man, this one's small too. Alrighty, and why are these all small? These are, all of these are tiny. What's going on? All right, and then so yeah, it's just kind of like that. I love doing this stuff. Anything liquidy, anything weird. That's kind of why I like drawing like how do you say it? That's why I like drawing like any type of monstrous villain. I really enjoy, because you can like, again, it's such a huge margin for error. This is brown, or okay, this is not brown. All right, cool. This one works. Right here, and you can just start. What I do is I'm going to go into the darks here and start kind of toying with the edges all over the place. Over here in the rib cage, he's going to have like more of a blotchiness on his chest that I didn't put there. I got to put that right now, actually, but I'm going to go through and kind of like do the other stuff first, like the hand. Like so. Just kind of going over here, because some things have to be clear, right? Like certain parts of them have to be, you know, structurally sound. That's the thing you have to watch out. It can become structurally unsound with somebody as liquidy as Carnage. So you have to kind of you know, be aware of what's kind of going on. Like, is stuff getting too liquidy? You know, because he still has the shoulders, right? He's a strong shoulder. He's got like this bone structure thing going on, like a human form. So you have to, you know, take that into account and be like, okay, cool, this is happening right now. And you're not gonna like completely make him too. If you make him too liquidy, he'll have no form at all. Almost, it'll be too much. It'll look like you're drawing Gumby, or Gumby is cool though. But like you're drawing something that, I don't know how to say it. It's not gonna be. It's not gonna look correct if it doesn't feel solid. You know, he's got to feel solid, like a, you know, humanoid form. Kind of going over here. I think that eye should be a little bit more around the corner. I'm gonna shrink that eye a little bit. You know, again, it's kind of so again, you know, really pulling into the differences between him and Venom. A lot of his muscles are striated. I noticed he's smaller, but a lot of his muscles are striation. They'll show a lot of these black marks within kind of where the anatomy is, because that's kind of his design. Alright, kind of just looking at this, I feel like there needs to be more, it needs to be a little bit more bottom heavy. So I'm going to do that just a little bit more here. A little bit more bottom heavy. I just feel like it's too top heavy with that head. The head's just too big still, honestly, I think. And I might throw another little spider thing back here, which might affect the silhouette, but so be it. Alright, so let me go over smaller details on the head and chest. And There's really no right answer to a lot of Carnage's stuff. Um, you know, you can just start playing with shapes at this point. It's almost like abstract art. Like I was but almost everything is going to be like, oh, okay, like this striation, how big is like this line right here, or like a lot of it's going to be very meticulous and things of that sort. Um, at this point, like the designing is over. I still want to shrink his head. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I would like to shrink his head though, still. But if I can't, this still works. You can make other body parts bigger over here to kind of counter that. And this looks a little strange. I'm going to put a thin line here because it looks like his arm is dinky. I noticed because it's behind his back over here. So I'm going to have to like work around that. And a lot of this is just kind of working through little problems that you created for yourself, but they're little fun problems, you know? It's not like a major problem. You're just like, oh, this is just some fun toying around with shapes. And when you see it like that, you can really go for hours on a drawing, way more hours than you thought, when you're just kind of toying with the actual structure and shape. And yeah, let me see more here. I'll put a little bit more in the pit of the area of the stomach here, stomach of the chest, kind of around the center of the chest, my solar plexus. Alright, I'm going to go into it a little bit more, and then I'm going to come back and then talk to you about what exactly I was doing. So let me kind of like show you kind of essentially what I'm doing. I'm going over here, and what I'm doing is I'm pulling small edges all over the place. So he's covered in like this veiny material, or it looks very veiny and vascular, and that's essentially what I'm doing. I'm kind of going over here and I'm toying with edges, like I'm pulling like that shape right there. See that right below the what do you call that? My brain hurts. The pectoralis. See, there's a big line right here. That line is just way too artificial. So what I think it needs is it needs to be kind of like at least varied. The shape of it needs to look a little bit more organic. So maybe I'll break something in there into it. Right? Try to make maybe part of it a little bit thicker or thinner. And same thing on this side too. I think it needs it there as well. You need to break up some of this stuff. So the thing is, he's extremely organic looking, right? He looks alive. He looks like putty goo. So what you want to do is I'm trying to do that everywhere. I'm trying to make it, okay, that shape looks too blocky or sterile. I'm going to like pull a smaller shape out of it, or maybe change the width along it to make it look more organic. And that's kind of my mindset, like everywhere. As far as bottom heavy too, I think there needs to be no reflected light over here, because I think that's more of a Venom thing to have more reflected light on this side. And I do like this claw I put in the back over that spider leg. I think that's pretty cool. But it also balances out the shape. So a lot of it with him is, again, you're balancing stuff out, and it's going to be the most important part to Carnage. Alright, let me continue going in here, and I'm just going to keep doing that thing I told you about. I'm going to continue to do... Well, now, I'll talk to you. Let's hang out as I'm doing this. So, like I said, I'm just picking a random spot here, going over here, and changing the shape of it. Right, finding an edge, changing the shape. Like I said, luckily there's very little mistakes on him, because anything can be anything. It's so, any vein or any whatever can go any direction, right? Obviously the vein is like the symbiote, but all of those things can go any which way direction. So that's why I love the details on him. And I guess if someone says that Carnage is hard to draw, I would say he's significantly easier to draw than someone like Spider-Man himself, or even like Venom, because of these certain things. Like I'd have to, if this is Spider-Man, I'd have to stick to a structure, because that outfit is it's cloth, and so cloth can only do so much. You can alter his outfit, right, to do whatever you want, but it's different. It's not this living symbiote on him that can turn into any shape and anything like that, Yeah, gosh, I hope this movie is good. I really hope I'm not making this for nothing. No, I'm kidding. I still love Carnage, even if the movie is not good. I have no clue if it's good or not, because it's only a trailer right now. I hope it's good. I hope at least, and even if it's not good, let's just say it comes out and it's not good, I just hope I like it. That's the thing. I was like, I don't really care, right? As long as I think it's good, or maybe I just think it's funny or enjoyable, then that's all that's important. I see a lot of movie critics or something, and they kind of talk about it like it's a fact, right? I mean, there is certain structures that are bad in film. Sorry, now I'm kind of ranting. There's certain structures that are bad in film, no question, There's ways to do it. There's structures. There's there's principles, not rules, right? That Robert McKee said. There are principles to making stuff, meaning this. So like a rule, and I've said this with drawing. I got this from Robert McKee, a screenwriter, famous screenwriter. So a rule says you have to do it this way, and then a principle says something different. A principle is like, it just says this has worked in the past, and this is a great thing to follow, and I love that. I love that whole idea of it. Like, you don't have to do that way, but if you're gonna, if it's obvious it's going that road with a story, it's easier to point out where it's incorrect, or like where it's not very good. But I always love that. If you haven't read that, read it. It's called Story by Robert McKee. Like one of the best things ever. You look at like story from film, like you'll never look at that stuff the same way again if you check that book out. So good. Alrighty. Continue to go down here. I might leave this stuff scratchy. I kind of like the look of it in the leg area because it's not the focus anyway. The leg area. Focus would be more up in this area right here and his face. The cool part is there is so much chaoticness to him that, you know, you could even leave it like now and it might work. I mean, I'm not going to leave it like it is now because I really want to work on this hand over here because that's an intricate, that's a smaller shape here. Let me take out, okay. So I'm going to go in here into the hand, take all these dark shapes I put. This one's a little different. I might actually try to tighten this one up as opposed to making it all veiny and weird over here. The hand, I might actually just try to make it look... I want it to read as a hand, which I think it already does. But I would like to keep that read instead of messing with it too much. Because it's such a small form, right? It's small compared to this chest. His chest has such a large area to it. And this area is so large, you can kind of... It takes a lot to break it up, meaning you're adding so much detail that the detail kind of overwhelms the structure, and at that point, you can't even tell anymore. It just looks sloppy and weird, and so that's based a lot on you know, where you put things, how thick the lines you make are, lots of stuff, lots and lots of stuff. But yeah. Alright, I'm going to go back and I'm going to continue this. I'm going to basically finish it. So, kind of, you can watch this on fast forward. I'm going to finish it. And then I'll talk a little bit afterward, okay? Okay, that's pretty much it, honestly. I can keep going on this. That's the thing is, he's one of those characters, right? Like if you draw like Clayface, right, from Batman, or I can't think of another one, but he's one of those characters that you could just keep going forever as far as details go. And I think I'm gonna leave it about here. I think it's an okay level. It's probably one of the looser sketches I think I've done in a long time. But yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I hope you had some value out of this. Just kind of, if you want more of these, let me know, where I go through, and just kind of do the whole thing from beginning to end. Let me know if you want more of that, okay? Because I noticed these kind of get a lot more hits and a lot more. That means people like it more. So let me know what you think, and I will see you next time, okay? I will talk to you soon. These have been easy pictures to draw. Later.